Welcome to the Real Estate Ripple, where every conversation makes waves in the world of real estate. I'm Christy.
I'm Joe.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Carl. And each week we bring you the latest insights, expert advice, and game-changing tips on everything from market trends and lending strategies to local developments right here in Joliet and beyond.
Whether you're a seasoned realtor, a mortgage pro, or just passionate about property market, this podcast is the one that's going to keep you informed and inspired.
So let's dive in and make some ripples together.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Estate Ripple. I'm Christy.
And I'm Joe. We are excited to celebrate the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, also known as AANHPI Month. And we're here today highlighting an incredible leader who's making waves in real estate and community advocacy.
That's right. Today we're honored to welcome Cleo Aquino, President of the Chicago chapter of the Asian Real Estate Association of America, or AREAA. Cleo, welcome to Real Estate Ripple. Did I say that right?
Oh, yeah, you did. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. And I must say, this is my first podcast ever.
Well,
so
we're breaking you in. We're going to bring you in.
We're honored to be the first for you.
All right, let's kick things off by getting to know you a little bit better, Cleo. So can you do us a favor and just share a little bit about your background, where you're from, your family, your career journey, maybe a fun or unique hobby that you're into?
Okay. Well, I'm picking up pickleball now, so if anybody wants to play, I'm in.
I'll play with you one day.
Okay, great. Yay. But the way that I look at it, I'm very fortunate. I am of Asian heritage, and my background is Philippines, so I'm Filipino from both sides. My parents and I, we came here like in the mid-'70s, so we are immigrants. So my dad was a retired physician, and he chose to follow the American dream. And part of that American dream is where I've landed in real estate. So what's interesting is that back then, we stay with our community, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. So all the advice of real estate is within our community, not real estate licensed professionals, right? So we rented for almost maybe 19, 20 years.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
So that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And thankfully, we lived in a great community, great landlord, so very fortunate. But we rented for almost 20 years. Uh-huh. So that says a lot to me, knowing what I know now.
Right.
And from that, went to school here and so on, and started in public accounting. Then I went to public education, and now, for whatever reason, I landed in real estate. And so it is a journey, as like most people here, real estate really opens itself to many people. So I'm very fortunate, I'm very committed, and I love the industry that we're in, and I advocated for it. One, for the Asian community, but also as a whole for the real estate industry itself, because it has given me so much.
Yeah, and not only are you a realtor, but you're also very involved, as you said. And let's talk about AREAA, which you're very, obviously you're the president of the Chicago chapter. For anyone who might not be familiar, what is AREAA and
Sure.
All about, and what's the organization's mission?
Okay, so I could talk about AREAA for hours on end, so you guys got to give me the sign till I cut it.
That's why they picked you as president.
Yeah,
right?
I can. So AREAA, the acronym is Asian Real Estate Association of America, and we are 19,000 members strong across the United States and Canada. And that's over 45 chapters. So we're a lot of people, and we all come together to serve for the mission of advocating for sustainable home ownership. Sustainability, that's a key word, right? Like how can we make sure that everyone has the ability to be a homeowner? And in how that relates is that at the national level, we're 21 years old. And the Chicago chapter, the greater Chicago chapter, we are the first chapter that is chartered under a national platform. So we're very excited that we it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, our founder, Nancy Cervanami, she's like, we're putting Chicago in. That's it.
I love it.
So she is an incredible woman, and because of her, I am here representing AREAA. But with that said, we will be the first chapter to celebrate 20 years next year. So,
Amazing.
Wow, 20 years.
yeah, 20
I was
years.
21.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot, right? And so we take great pride because we've done a lot of work as well. It shows the sustainability of the organization here serving in Illinois.
That's amazing.
How did you get involved?
Oh, I was in denial, actually, of joining AREAA. I'll be the first person to say that. It took almost 3 tries, if you will, for me to join. And it was really through some individuals here, and then also Sharon Wong and Vicky Silvano, who really, I don't want to say made a case for it, but said, hey, you've done so much for other communities and other organizations of where I serve on board positions. Why don't you try to serve yourself? Not serve yourself, that came out wrong. Okay. But to serve your community. You have so much knowledge. Why don't you share? So because of those words, it hit me. So that's why I joined AREAA. And then to stay in AREAA, that's a whole different group of people because it is a whole lot of mentorship there. And that's with Kashif Trivedi, Liz Goodchild, Peter DeYoung, and Tuyen Nguyen. I feel like I'm name dropping, but I want to make sure that they're named because these individuals at the board, it is such a great balance between having veterans there, experienced individuals who have really, created this platform for us as new individuals coming in. And I've been with AREAA for maybe 4 years, and I am a baby. I am a toddler in comparison to all the great work that they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Cleo, that's amazing. That's an amazing story of how you got involved. So with all that information with AREAA, how does AREAA fit in with the local real estate market of what's happening here?
Sure.
Boots on the ground and what AREAA is doing.
Yeah. So at a national level, there is the AREAA Foundation as well as the global. And hear how all that national work relates here at Greater Chicago, as well as across the chapters. It's divided into 4 categories, okay? And it is divided into professional development. That's number 1. Number 2 is community service, community outreach. Number 3 is sustainability. And when we talk about sustainability, is making sure that the chapter here stays strong for future leaders, future.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully, being here for almost 20 years, hopefully we've checked that off, right?
Yeah.
But it is definitely a work in progress. And then the last one is policy work. So we're heavily involved here in policy. So we're going to be there when we do our when we go to the Capitol, Illinois Realtors, when we go down to Capitol. So we're going to be there. But also we participate at the national level. So in May, if you will, we the entire AREAA chapters of 45, we're all going to go to Washington, D.C. We celebrate the National Housing Summit. And there, for one day, well, let's see, within 24 hours, it's pretty cool. All 45 chapters, we get to meet with our respective state legislators. And we advocate, hey, here are some of the issues we are seeing. Here are some of proposed solutions. Let's work on this together.
Yeah.
And we do this every year. You can tell I get very excited because then you can see when we're all together, we see the depth of work that we try to do at a national level and then also here at the state level and then even more so at a city level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I can really see why people were telling you, hey, please come on this committee too.
It's just, there's just so much great work. And I could just jump off my seat right now, is that the people that you come across, it's the one thing about AREAA and why I value it so much is that it has helped me as an individual grow. And then also it gives us this venue, this platform to serve so many. Not only do we serve the Asian community, but we will serve, hey, Do you need a house? Okay, well, let's get you in.
Yeah.
Let's do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why our doors are always so open.
Yeah. You mentioned something just now about policy work, and we're definitely going to get into that because there's some really, really cool things that you guys have done, AREAA has done. But before we jump into that, I want to share a impactful statistic that I pulled off of the AREAA website. And from what I see is that AREAA is not only the organization that you described it as, but it's also an aggregator of statistics.
Oh, yeah.
Like you guys are pulling in so many vital statistics into the mix, and that is what you're basing the policy work and your advocacy about, right?
Correct.
That's what I'm gathering from all of this. So here's one thing that I found really, really interesting, and that is you've shared a statistic that 69.4%, that's almost 70%, of AANHPI households in the Midwest are homeowners.
It's a lot of people. It's
Yes.
a lot of homes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And I have to say that every year, our national office, we have the State of Asia report. And every year, though the numbers may not fluctuate dramatically, the way that the story is told through data is amazing. And that's why every year I look forward to it. And there's so much. One of the things that I want to impress on as it relates to the data, and every year when we do this, is that the AANHPI represents 74 different countries of origin.
Mm-hmm.
And though it looks like, hey, 69.1%, we round up, right, have home ownership, that we have to really take that apart. Because there are 74 different countries of origin, it doesn't mean that it represents every country
Right.
of owning of home ownership.
Yeah.
So at AREAA, we are trying to disaggregate the data. But then the flip side to it is you got to self-report as well. So there's that balance of we want to share the data, but we have to also encourage our own population to say, hey, could you share with us your country of origin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the information that you're talking about, the State of Asia America report, we're actually going to be including a link of it in the show
thank you.
notes. Yes,
Thank you.
so that anyone who would like to access that, they will be able to. And I think that you already kind of touched upon the next point about what's so meaningful of that to our industry as real estate professionals is that people are sharing that information.
Yeah. And from this State of Asia America report, it seems like it's an annual report that's put together.
Yes.
Last year it was put together in conjunction with RE/MAX and Freddie Mac.
Yeah.
I mean, those are no two small entities.
No,
you know.
no.
Yes.
For the fact that you have Freddie Mac involved in this report brings so much credibility to what's said in there. I just want to run through real quick just some of the highlights that I saw in that report.
Sure.
And this is really just going to give you the listeners a flavor of what AREAA's work is all about in terms of policy work and going down to Washington, D.C. and advocating. So 2007, there's a groundbreaking survey with UCLA to identify barriers to AAPI home ownership. So you're going to use that data. 2016, successful pushing to separate AAPI from the other category in census housing reports. So that's kind of like what you're saying is don't look at us as all just Asians or Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. Within that, there's 74 plus countries in there. So the fact that got pushed through from AREAA is pretty amazing. 2017, AREAA was heavily involved in pushing for preferred language data field in the uniform residential loan application. So as you take a loan application, you're now able to see what language you prefer.
Yeah.
You can check mark that box. That's thanks to some of AREAA's work. Is that right?
I think it's
You helped
helped,
out.
yeah.
Yeah. So you advocated for that,
yeah,
right?
we definitely advocated for that.
In 2020, you also supported the Renters Credit Program with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yeah.
For those of that you don't know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac now allow landlords who own multifamily properties to report on-time payments of their tenants' rents to help build their credit report and build their credit rating. They may be renters now, but then they can eventually become homeowners.
I love that because always it's the negative, reporting the negative, but report that positive.
Yes, that's absolutely amazing work that you guys did.
Yeah.
2022, advocating for new credit scoring models like Vantage Score 4.0 and the FICO 10T. This is going to, it might sound like mumbo jumbo right now, but I'm a lender. What this means essentially is this is going to allow for more people to qualify for mortgages.
Yes.
In a nutshell. Okay.
Yes.
So, Cleo, are all those, and there's so many more in that report, which of these wins has stood out to you the most?
I would say, let's look at two of them. Okay. Number one is 2016, where the Asian population, we have a category. We're not just an other.
Yeah.
And for that, it was significant because it signaled an identity. It may look very small, but having that shift of, hey, this is the Asian population is huge.
Right.
It's very huge because it used to be just black, white, Hispanic, and other. And 74
All the way up
countries.
to 2016.
Well, it wasn't as if like a light switch. So it was definitely ongoing work.
Wow.
And we're very fortunate. One of our current board members, Vicky Silvano, she was the chair at a national level. At the time, it was like the national chair, and now it's called national president here for AREAA. She was pivotal in helping that move forward. So we're very proud that one of our own here in Chicago.
Kudos.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. The other point that I want to say is that 2020, the Renters Credit Program that you'd highlighted. As an Asian community, we're very conscious of being in debt, or not being in debt, I should say. And we want to say, hey, pay everything in cash. You won't, right? And to have this option is significant because though we pay very timely on our obligations, unfortunately, having not an established credit card system
Right.
really backfires because when you're trying to get a loan, where you're trying to get a
Right.
mortgage.
Yes.
So having that was very significant.
Yeah.
It allows us to have a really better profile of that we're a sure thing, right?
Right.
It just allows for more opportunities for us to acquire mortgages. So those two items really stick in my mind.
Yeah. It's so much more involved in that, and we don't have
I
time
know.
to get in, which
I
is
know.
why I'm saying, in a nutshell, it's just going to help more people qualify for homes.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
So,
On another note, we know that you're so passionate about educating first-time home buyers, especially when it comes to down payment assistance programs. Can you walk us through why this education is so important and how folks can access these resources?
Sure. I'm going to look at it from the perspective or from the eyes of an individual who learned real estate from their home country, and now you have to learn an entirely new system here. And for that, when you go into real estate, we know the value of home ownership back home, and especially in the Philippines, in my own family, real estate is a big deal. To own your home is security, it is safety. My uncle, on my side here, we have a little compound, where everyone has a house. And for that, we have this security. And we know that when we have a home and if we choose to sell it, there's a legacy that we can forward down to our kids, to our godchildren, hey, even maybe to me, right? So, just kidding. But that's one of the reasons why education is very key. Because for an immigrant, we use our experience from back home. And now whatever is the process back home is certainly not the process here.
Right.
So that first-time home buyer education is very key. That's number one, is to understand what's the system. And the other thing here, what I've noticed is that as a loan officer here, you'll say, hey, Cleo, and let's say I'm asking for a loan here, right?
Yep.
I put my applications in and I'll say, Joe, why do you need that information? So as brokers, we bridge that gap of why do you need to know the DNA of my income?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that education is very key. So it's not just also learning the process, but the reasoning of why.
Yes.
So that's number one. And number two is, I want to phrase it this way, is that when owning a home here and as an immigrant, I'm establishing a legacy here. I do not know the game here. So
Yeah.
education of understanding how do I create wealth here is key. And obviously I choose to look from the perspective of real estate. So that legacy building here is very different than legacy back home. So that education is very key. And then also when it comes to first-time homeowners, there are so many more options that from where my parents thought of.
Yeah.
They got their advice from friends.
Yeah.
20% down, right?
Right.
Let's not negotiate. Got the house. They were happy in the house, but that was in terms of their education.
But it took them 10 years to save for the 20%, where they could have done down payment assistance and bought immediately and had 20 years to
Exactly.
build up
Exactly.
equity. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the same page here. Education is huge. All three of us here sitting in this table believe education is
Oh, yeah.
paramount.
And not only what I also want to stress going into 2020, or we are in 2025 and going in the future, is that in Illinois, and I'll just stay in Illinois because this is where we live, is that we have so many grant assistant programs,
Yes.
Right.
grant applications. And it's something that it's like I just arrived, I want to buy a house. What do you mean the state is going to give me money?
Right.
What do you mean you're going to just give me a grant?
Yeah.
So hearing that for the first time, and then you're asking me to fill out more forms, as an individual, it sounds a little suspect. It sounds a little creepy. So, as we work with more lenders, as we work closely with the Illinois Mortgage Bankers Association, AREAA was there when they had their conference. We talked about, hey, how else can we serve? How else can we work together? That's one of the things. And we met some really great people who really can help us with that.
Amazing. Yeah. Education is paramount. So let's pivot here just for a quick second,
Sure.
because AREAA is doing some great work, but I also know as an organization, there's a social aspect of everything.
Yes.
What are some of the events, fun events, other types of events that are coming up in 2025?
So 2 events that I want you to be aware of, okay? One is on Wednesday, May 28th, we are having a Cubs game. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's an evening, a networking social event. And then the second one that is just so much more, is a lot of fun, is our dragon boat race. That will be in June. So just keep an eye out on our AREAA website for that. Because
I'm looking forward to that.
could you imagine? Okay, it's going down the Chicago River. Chicago River. And it's not like we're going through miles, okay? But we get so competitive. We get really competitive. You hear us go, wow, and we're cheering, having a good time. But it's just so much fun. And that whole purpose there is to raise funds for the Chinatown community for literacy.
Got
So
it.
I love
there is a
that.
purpose to it. Okay.
And how did you guys do last year?
Not third place, but we completed, right? It's like running the marathon. We completed.
Yeah.
Right? We completed.
It was fun.
It was fun. Thank you. And then the other event that we have, which is fun, how many golfers do you guys have? Are you guys a golfer?
My husband does.
Oh,
Yeah.
I golf. I don't consider myself a golfer.
I like
okay.
I have clubs.
Okay, that's all right. So Another fun event that we do annually is scheduled for Monday. It's always the last Monday of August. So it is Monday, August 25th, and it's called Swing for a Cause. Okay. It's just fun.
I was there last year. It
Oh,
was
you were?
It was a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens at Bloomingdale Golf Course
Stays there.
Okay.
It's kind of like a
That
mini
is our
Vegas, right?
pact. That's right. It's our pact. But we have so much fun, and the whole purpose for that is also to raise funds for our AREAA Foundation. So every year, it's our third year going into it. And all those funds raised will go to the foundation. And the foundation itself, actually, I'm very proud of that, of the work that they do, one is their pillars is homeownership. Second one is to support veterans. And our third one is our disaster relief efforts. So many times our funds go towards the disaster relief efforts. So we help our sister chapters, if you will.
Fantastic.
Yes. For anyone who is interested in joining AREAA, is it something that they can join?
Yes.
Is it open for people to come
Everyone.
member? Everyone can be a member.
Just come. Okay. So the link for membership is on our website. But if you also want to say, I have a question, just drop an email. It's to chicagoarea@gmail.com. So it's Chicago, AREAA @gmail.com. And we'll be able to answer that.
Amazing. Well, hey, Cleo, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, your work with AREAA, the passion that you're creating for more inclusive and empowered real estate in the industry. Just amazing work. It was so much fun having you here.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
all your
Thank you.
smiles. This has been fun. We'll have all of the links mentioned today in the show notes, including the State of Asia America report and how to connect with AREAA. Be sure to follow the Real Estate Ripple and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Yeah. Thanks again, Cleo, and
Thank
happy
you.
AANHPI Heritage Month
I
here in
know.
May to all of our listeners.
Let's go eat now. Okay?
Let's do that.
We have to eat.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Real Estate Ripple. We hope you're walking away with some valuable insights and a fresh perspective on the world of real estate.
Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Whether you're on the go or closing deals, we've got you covered every week.
And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd love for you to leave a review and share the Real Estate Ripple with fellow realtors, lenders, and anyone who wants to stay ahead of the ever-changing market.
Until next time, keep making waves in real estate and remember, every ripple counts.